Hi, this is Corey Kerr. I want to show you a really fast trick on how to draw ellipses or circles in perspective correctly. They're really hard to do when they look off. They're wrong, and there's a lot of math, and you can do that. But in Illustrator, you can do it really fast. In Photoshop, you can do this too. Let me show you how this works. Okay, so really fast, I've set up a perspective grid here. If you don't know how to do perspective, then this is not the video for you. But really quick, here this red line is going to be our horizon line. This dot is going to be our vanishing point, and then I've extended, perspective lines coming out from there. And just add this grid. We're going to do 1 point perspective. I may show you 2 point, but basically, in 1 point, anything that is facing us is going to be a horizontal line. So there's that. Okay. Now, real quick, a circle in perspective is the same as a square in perspective. So if you can set up your square in perspective, which is really easy to do, then you can get your circle in perspective. Okay, before we do anything with the circle though, let's say we're doing a cylinder, let's set up our boxes. So remember that, a cube is made up of squares, and that a circle or ellipse in perspective is the same as a box in perspective. So let's bring this back. And I'm just going to set up, so let's start with the easiest part. We'll start with the front of the box. Let's say our box is about that tall, like that. Let me just make it come up here like this. Okay. Then we'll want to do these side lines. So make a copy of this box. Get that to line up like this. And then I'm just going to take this one, shrink it down there, and this one will follow. So I'm not exactly sure where this line goes, so to make certain, I'm going to draw a line from the center point out, and then I'm going to make sure that that line crosses right there. So I actually guessed fairly close. That's not bad. I'm going to leave that there. That's good. Okay, so this line would be vertical. There we go. All right. Now, do the same thing over here. So I can grab this box again. Make sure it lines up with those corners. Okay, and these would follow that line and that line. Okay, and now let's see where that is back here. So I'm just going to come back here. Draw that out about there. Okay, and that shows us where this should go. That's going to meet that. That is going to meet that. Okay, now we're a little off, but pretty close. Okay, so there is our cube. Now, if we were to do slices in this cube, so let's do a few slices. Basically, we would just start at one of these intersection points, and it would hit. It would come completely horizontal. Then it would follow that line, which is going to be about there. Okay, and then it would come completely horizontal to that. So if I take this, and I make it align to that, there we go. Okay, that'll put it in perspective. So there's one. Let's do one more. Let's do it slightly above the horizon line here. So we'll go here, that follows that line, that's going to go exactly that way, okay? Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to start over here because it'll be easier. Grab this one, that'll go exactly horizontal, okay? And then those will meet exactly, and that puts that in perfect perspective. Okay, so now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 planes, and let me show you how to apply a circle to these planes. So I'm going to bring this back. Okay, here's our circle. We're going to make this a different color so we can see what's going on. I haven't used green yet. Okay, so our green circle. And we will bring this over here just so we have a copy of it. And grab this guy. Now, I'm just going to start by making this match up this way. And then it's as simple as dragging each of these corners to match up with these corners. So I'm going to drag this down here like this, and then I just bring out my tool. I'm going to constrain the proportions, go to there, grab this guy. So I'm just grabbing this corner and lining him up. Okay, and I'm grabbing this corner and I'm lining him up. Okay, and that circle is now in perspective. Okay, so let's do another one. Grab this one. Okay, I'm going to stretch it. Oh, let's make a copy. Stretch it so it's like this. Okay, shrink this down so that it just lines up with that line right there. Okay, that gives us the distance. And then I'm going to go back to my free transform tool, constrain the proportions, go to free distort, grab this corner, line it up along that line, grab this corner, line it up along that line. Okay, and now that one is in perspective. Okay, so let's do another one. Okay, so this one is going to be down here. Okay, so I align the top and the bottom. Constrain, free distort. Line up that angle. Where's the other one? This one. And this is going to look fairly distorted because of the angle it's at, but it's actually correct. So let's do the top one up here, and then I'll hide my cylinder and I'll show you, or I'll hide my boxes and I'll show you how this works. Okay, so line the top and bottom lines up. Stretch this out all the way. E, constrain, there we go. Grab this corner, go there. Grab this corner and go there. Okay, now let's hide that. And we now have circles that are in, these cylinders are in perspective. So if I were to draw a line from the edge to the edge here, okay, and then another line that went edge to edge, like that. Okay, then if you wanted to, you could get rid of these boxes. Okay, and that gives you kind of some slices. And those are in perspective according to this 1-point perspective. Okay, it looks a little distorted down here because we're kind of outside of the field of vision or the cone of vision. If you wanted to do a, let's bring this back. Well, if you wanted to do 2-point perspective, let me show you that really quick. I'll just do one in 2-point perspective so you can see the difference. Okay, so we're going to unlock this. I'm going to grab this whole thing. I'm going to create a vanishing point over here. I'm going to make this, make these red. All right. Okay, so now we've got a 2-point perspective grid. Okay, I'm going to grab this guy again. And now, if I were to put this in 2-point perspective, okay, you'd rotate it. And then you just follow the lines again. Okay, so that matches up with that. And in Illustrator, this gets a touch tricky because, you know, it kind of changes a little bit, which is a little frustrating. So you have to kind of try to get these lines to line up. 2-point is a little bit more difficult for this particular trick. But basically, that's it. If you come in, that is in perfect 2-point perspective. So depending on your image, usually 2-point perspective looks a little bit more realistic because technically we never actually see anything in 1-point perspective. It's more of a theory, but you know, you can draw stuff in 1-point perspective, but usually we're not completely flush. Our picture plane isn't completely flush with you know, what we're looking at. We're usually looking at something at an angle. So in any case, 2-point tends to give you a more realistic look. It's a little bit more difficult to do, but there you go. Ellipses in perspective.